You know, guys, I'm starting to believe that our democracy is an animal farm. You know, animal farm in that famous quote of theirs, animals are equal, but others are more equal than others. This is exactly what's happening in South Africa, man. And if there's one issue that I believe is going to bring out South Africans to the streets, is this whole thing of cost of living. The cost of living in South Africa is unbearable, man. Everything is going up in South Africa, but the salaries of average South Africans are not going up. While petrol goes up, electricity goes up, food goes up, the salaries of average South Africans are not going up. And now South Africans are having to prioritize between feeding their families, between buying petrol or going to work with transport. Man, they're having to compromise. And it's an unbearable situation for average South Africans, but it seems like that's not how things are going to be there in Parliament, especially for the Secretary of Parliament, because we've got a story that broke out, I think 2 days back, that the Secretary of Parliament has recently gotten a 70% increment of his salary. The man agreed to work for 2.6 million rands. 2.6 million rands. The man has been working for Parliament for a few months, but now he's going to get 4.4 million rands, making him the richest politician in South Africa. Man, now the man earns more than President Cyril Ramaphosa. He earns more money than President Cyril Ramaphosa. The Democratic Alliance and how, man, are not having it, man. They are furious about this whole thing. And I feel like South Africans should be furious about this whole thing. Why is the Secretary of Parliament getting a 70% increment of salary, while average South Africans cannot even get 5% increment of their salaries? So average South Africans cannot even keep up with the cost of living right now. But we have people who are simply sitting there in Parliament getting 70% of increment in salary, from 2.6 million rands to 4.4 million rands. Guys, that is unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. Jeez.
4:07, good morning. If you're watching The Time, good to have you with us here on ENCA. Now, the Democratic Alliance is calling for an investigation into Parliament Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. It follows a report that Parliamentary Secretary Humiliates George's salary has increased by 70%. It's alleged that George received the increase just 7 months into the job.
I mean, like, only 7 months into the job. Only 7 months. It only took the Secretary of Parliament 7 months to get 70% of his salary increment. 7 months. If this doesn't make you angry as an average South African, man, there's a problem with you, because it's your money paying those guys. It's your money. They're increasing their own salaries to meet up with to match up with the cost of living in the country. But average South Africans, man, are not even allowed to ask for increment in salaries. Average South Africans are not even getting 5% of increment in salaries. How is this acceptable, man?
Chief Whip Saviwe Gwarube joining us this morning. Saviwe, good to have you on ENCA. That's quite a jump. I'd like to know what that performance appraisal looked like.
Yeah, good morning, Gareth, and good morning to your viewers. Look, our view is that is not performance related. Our view and our suspicion is that, in fact, from the very beginning, the Speaker, the Executive Authority, so the Speaker and the NCOP chair, probably misled Parliament by insisting that the incumbent would be paid 2.6 million rand. Because if one looks at the documents that have now been made public, you will then see that, in fact, while Parliament had appointed Mr. George in June of 2022, in October of 2022, already the salary review that they proclaim started, and in fact was then backdated. And so instead of being paid 2.6 million rand, the Secretary to Parliament is being paid 4.4 million rand. And if one looks at statement that that Parliament released late last night, there's been no essentially any denial that is in fact the case. What they're simply saying is that this is routine and that this is in line with market-related sort of practices. But
they're talking about market-related prices, but when it comes to average South Africans, man, you have to live with what you get. You have to live with what you get, but us, we have to look at how things are outside in the market, man. If things go up in the market, we just go there in our committee and increase our own salaries. They are talking about the market related, man, but man, I'm frustrated, man.
The reality here, Gareth, is that we were at pains as political parties in Parliament to say we know that the Secretary of Parliament had been at Saga, where he had been paid in excess of 5 million rand. If he is coming to Parliament, it better then be within what Parliament is able to afford, which is 2.6 million rand.
And what is it exactly that the Secretary of Parliament is doing to grant him such a huge salary? What is it exactly that, if you are the Secretary of Parliament, what is it that you are doing that makes it okay for you to get 4.4 million rands annually? What is it that these guys are doing in Parliament, man, that makes it okay for them to turn into millionaires? Even this lady that is speaking right here, the chief whip of the DA, man, I know when the interview goes on, there's a time where she's gonna be questioned that why are you guys making millions there in Parliament? There's absolutely nothing that you are doing for the Afri South Africans, man. Why are you guys there in Parliament getting millions and millions of rands while Afri South Africans, man, cannot even afford to buy food and electricity? This is outrageous, man.
And the Speaker unequivocally committed to the House, to members of Parliament, and in effect an extension to the public, that was the salary that was offered to the Secretary. And now we are realizing that in fact we were duped in Parliament by the Speaker, because the review was then done 3 months after his appointment and has been backdated to when he began work.
The problem is there's two issues here. One, of course, is the fact that this has even happened in the first place. And obviously that fight is still going to come out. He is now, if I am not speaking under correction, earning more than the president of the country. But a lot of people getting very angry, Saviwe, if I'm just looking at social media, which, as I always say, isn't the country, it's just social media in South Africa. Why is a member of parliament, even if it is the secretary, earning this kind of money? That is a CEO's salary. How does an MP, how does a member of parliament, how does a politician truly represent the interests of a country where unemployment is up to 60%? We have people living in poverty. It makes you so detached when you earn that kind of money. It's not a good representation. It's not a good look.
Absolutely, man. It is not a good look. It is not. These guys are making millions there in Parliament. And what is it that Afri South Africans are getting from it? Nothing. We're getting more potholes. We're getting more load shedding. We're getting more unemployment rates. There's nothing that Afri South Africans are getting from paying these guys millions and millions of rands from being in Parliament, man. What are these guys doing in Parliament that makes it okay for them to turn into millionaires? What are they doing? How are they improving the lives of Afri South Africans? Can I sit here and be like, the Speaker of Parliament is getting 4.4 million rands, but I'm okay with it because I'm working? A lot of people cannot say that. So why are these people getting millions and millions of rands? I'm not only talking about the Speaker of Parliament right now. I'm talking about all of those politicians in the Parliament. Why are they getting so much money from doing nothing? The country is collapsing. The country is on a free fall. Why are these guys paid millions while the average South Africans are suffering? 60% of young people in this country are not working. Then you have these guys there in Parliament increasing their salaries by millions. By millions. South Africans are not angry enough, man, about what is being happening in our country, man. They're not angry enough. These guys are simply preparing themselves for the bounce that South Africa is about to have. Because I think that these people know that things are not going to get better in the country. Not anytime soon. The jobs are not coming anytime soon. So we might as well stack up our own bank accounts as much as possible so that when things are bad, we've saved up for the rainy days. We don't care about average South Africans. We don't care about the fact that average South Africans can barely survive right now. They don't care about that, man. They don't. These people are earning millions from being in Parliament. What have we gained from having these people in Parliament? Nothing. Nothing. They simply go to Parliament and make a mockery of that house. There's nothing that they are doing for average South Africans. They are not improving the lives of average South Africans. Man, the crime is rife, man. You look at right now. I don't even want to mention the problems that the country is in right now. I think right now everybody knows the kind of problems that the country is in. And we have these guys in parliament, they are earning millions of rands. From what? For what? I'm not saying that these people must not get salaries, but why are they making millions and millions of rands while average South Africans are struggling, man, to make ends meet?
There's two issues here. One, of course, is the fact that this has even happened in the first place. And obviously that fight is still going to come out. He is now, if I am not speaking under correction, earning more than the president of the country. But a lot of people getting very angry. So if I'm just looking at social media, which, as I always say, isn't the country, it's just social media.
Not only social media, man. People are angry about the type of lifestyle that politicians are living. People in general are not happy about that. People are not happy about the fact that these guys, they go around with convoys of expensive cars, while average South Africans cannot barely get a job. A minimum wage paying job. They can't get that. South Africans, man, I feel like we are angry, but we are not angry enough. It's either we are not angry enough, or we are not patriotic as citizens of this country, or we don't care about where this country is going. We don't. It's either we don't care about where this country is going, we are not patriotic, or we are not angry enough. There has to be something. It has to be. Just imagine, man, 70% of increment for someone who's earning 2.6 million rands, someone who was earning 5 million rands from Saga annually. The guy was getting 5 million rands from Saga annually. Now he's in parliament, he's getting 2.6 million rands. He's saying, no, that's not enough. I was in Saga, they were giving me 5 million rands. The taxpayers of this country, they were giving me 5 million rands. Now I want another 5 million rands. The parliament is saying, no, we're going to be able to make it 70% for you. But I dare average South Africans to go on the streets to demand high salaries, man. I'm telling you. You know what's going to happen with average South Africans if they go out and start demanding the salary increase. You know what happens with average South Africans. They have been chased around like dogs. But it's okay. Somehow it's okay, man, for you to get 70% of your salary increment just because you are a parliament secretary. What is it are you doing as a parliament secretary that makes it okay for you to get 70% of your salary increment? And what is it are you doing that makes it okay for you to get 2.6 million rands to start with? Yo, these people make me sick, man. Our politicians make me sick in the stomach.
There's two issues here. One, of course, is the fact that this has even happened in the first place. And obviously that fight is still going to come out. He is now, if I am not speaking under correction, earning more than the president of the country. But a lot of people getting very angry. If I'm just looking at social media, which, as I always say, isn't the country, it's just social media in South Africa. Why is a member of parliament, even if it is the secretary, earning this kind of money? That is a CEO's salary. How does an MP, how does a member of parliament, how does a politician truly represent the interests of a country where unemployment is up to 60%? We have people living in poverty. It makes you so detached when you earn that kind of money. It's not a good representation. It's not a good look. The optics are off, isn't it?
No, of course, and I mean the reality here is that, of course, you know, as Parliament attempted.
She can't answer. She can't. She can't. Of course. She can't answer because it makes no sense. Why are these people making millions of rands there in Parliament while average South Africans are struggling? It makes no sense. Well, because what? Why are you making that money? What makes it okay for you to get that kind of money? Why do you guys think it's okay for the parliament to pay you like?
No, of course, and I mean the reality here is that, of course, you know, as Parliament attempted to defend us last night, that this is market related and that it is, you know, in accordance to the cost of living crisis. And
you see, their salaries, man, their salaries have to match the cost of living. Not the salaries of average South Africans. Their salaries, they are not fighting for average South Africans to get the salaries that are matching with the cost of living. They are making their own salaries match up with the cost of living. You can see her, man. She can't even answer the question. She can't. She can't. She can't.
The reality here, Gareth, is that Parliament can ill afford to pay the Secretary.
Man, it is not about the Secretary. This question was not about the Secretary. This question was about politicians as a whole. All of you guys there in Parliament. What makes it okay for you guys to get millions of rands while South Africans are struggling? That is the question. The question is not about the Secretary of Parliament right now. I know we are talking about the Secretary of Parliament right now, but we are not focusing on it right now. We are focusing on all of you guys there in Parliament. Why is it okay for you guys to get millions and millions of rands while average South Africans are struggling? That is the question. That is the question.
4.4 million rand. And that is why the advert was priced at 2.6 million rand per annum. And the other issue here is that if you are pricing a vacancy at a particular rate, and then you then subsequent to that increase the salary.
So honestly, this lady is not going to answer why. What makes it okay for them to earn those millions? That's the answer that we're gonna get. You're not going to answer. You're simply gonna deflect and talk about the Secretary of Parliament. We are not talking about that right now. We are not. She's simply refusing to answer the question, man. These people, they don't, man. All of these political parties, man, they're the same. They're the same, man. I believe when people say that all of these political parties, they're the same. It's all about money and power to them, and it has nothing to do with improving the lives of average South Africans. It's all about money and power to them. That's how I see it. That's how I call it. You know, for the longest time, people have been saying that these politicians are the same. All of them, they're the same. Thomas, stop listening to politicians. Stop listening to all of these new politicians and everyone saying whatever they want to say. She can't answer the question, man. Why are you guys making so much money? Why? Average South Africans, man, they cannot, man. Right now, people that, like I said earlier, man, people are sacrificing, man. People are making huge sacrifices. People are in debt right now. People are living with the loan sharks right now. People who are working, man, they go to the loan sharks' houses almost every weekend. People who have works, people who have jobs, man. People are borrowing money, man. And you guys, it's okay for you to jack up your salaries because the cost of living has gone up. But you say nothing about the average South Africans. What is it are you saying about the average South Africans, man? Have you guys even looked at the salaries of average South Africans and be like, what is it that we can do for the average South Africans so that their salaries can be better, man? We know that the cost of living right now in the country is unbearable. All of you guys are the same, man. All of you guys are the same. I'm convinced, man. All of you guys are the same. I know that you wanted to expose the Secretary of Parliament for getting over 70% of his salary, man, but you cannot answer why. What makes it okay for you guys in general to get all of those millions in Parliament, while average South Africans cannot even make the ends meet? Those are the kind of topics that are being discussed in Parliament, man. How much do you think we should check up our salaries with, man? I think 50%. No, I think 20%. They're saying nothing about average South Africans. Average South Africans are on their own. Average South Africans are on their own. That's what I can say. You guys are on their own. You guys are on your own. All of you guys. If you are watching this platform, just know that you are on your own. You are.
Then that means that you've essentially excluded any other candidates. And this is where, for me, it starts to get a little bit hairy, because then does this mean that the Speaker and the Chair of the NCOP had already targeted Mr. George as the preferred candidate, to the point where they were willing to mislead Parliament, essentially, and say this is how much you would be paid, knowing very well that they would essentially almost double his salary? And as you are right, I mean, Parliament as it stands sits without a precinct. the parliament has burnt down, and the speaker and the NCOP chair are at pains to explain that parliament does not have money. But yet we are able to increase the secretary's salary by almost 70%. In just 3 months of him starting the job.
And let me ask a layman question, Saviwe, as well, because you make such a good point about the fact that Parliament is built down, there's no money for that to be done, at least the assessments are still being done, etc., etc. What sort of KPIs do you understand is in place for Lile George to be earning, and I've just worked this out, I hope my maths is right, 366,666 Rand a month? What sort of job must you be doing? Because
Exactly.
that's CEO money. In fact, I don't think a lot of CEOs are earning that. That's your top tier blue label CEOs. But they're running multinational companies, highly profitable, employing tens of thousands of people. What qualifies the secretary to be earning this kind of money? What could he possibly do on a daily basis?
Exactly. What are these guys doing, man? What are these guys doing to earn such a huge salary, man? What is it exactly that the Secretary of Parliament is doing to earn millions and millions of rands and to get a 70% increment of his salary? What is it that he's doing that makes it okay, man? 300,000 rands a month. 300,000 rands a month. These guys are paid by taxpayers. 300,000 rands. Men and average South Africans, men, will never see 300,000 rands in their lives. Our grandmothers, man, our parents, man, they passed away without even seeing 300,000 rands in their bank accounts. This man is seeing 300,000 rands in his bank account every month. What is it that he's doing? Exactly, like the journalist is asking a very important question. What is it that this man is doing to get this kind of salary, man? Working for the public.
Month. What sort of job must you be doing? Because that's CEO money. In fact, I don't think a lot of CEOs are earning that. That's your top tier blue label CEOs. But they're running multinational companies, highly profitable, employing tens of thousands of people. What qualifies the secretary to be earning this kind of money? What could he possibly do on a daily basis?
So essentially, the Secretary of Parliament runs the institution. They are responsible for both houses of Parliament. So while the Speaker is the political head of Parliament, they are the administrative head of Parliament. And of course, one may say, in other terms, or in what you would have in the private sector, that is what a CEO would do. But at the same time, Gareth, we've got to look at firstly the fiscal environment that we are in. Parliament only budgeted 2.6 million rand for this vacancy.
Why is the Parliament budgeting so much money, man? For MPs, why? Why are you guys are okay with the Parliament budgeting 2.6 million rand to pay one man? You are okay with that. You don't fight with that. But as soon as average South Africans talk about the salary increment, you are all over the place telling that you are scaring the investors. The investors are going to run away from South Africans. Do not listen to this. What are these things? What are these things? Do not listen to these unions, man. These unions are going to cause companies to leave South Africans. These unions are going to hurt the investors in South Africa. Average South Africans, when they talk about 5% increment, that's what you guys say. You say that we are scaring away the investors in the country. But it's okay for you to budget 2.6 million rands to pay one man. It's okay for you guys in Parliament. It's okay. How is it okay? What? Man, guys, I'm trying to understand here. What is it that these guys are doing in Parliament, man? We see them in Parliament, on national television. They are doing nothing for us. It's just a sideshow. Parliament is just a sideshow. It's a comedy show. There's nothing that average South Africans are gaining from Parliament. There's nothing that you can gain from watching Parliament. There's nothing. With that being said, what is it that you guys are doing behind the scenes that makes it okay for you guys to get all of those millions of rands in salaries? What are you doing, guys, in Parliament? What are you doing? You get millions and millions of rands in salaries, but we still have potholes. We don't have infrastructure. You look at our healthcare system. I don't even want to mention our hospitals. You look at our education system. Young people are still dying in pit toilets in 2023. You look at the crime. Young people are being fed drugs. We don't have borders in this country. What is it that you guys are doing? What is it? Can someone please tell me what is it that these guys in parliament are doing? Just imagine, man, 2.6 million rands, and this guy says it's okay for you guys to budget 2.6 million rands to pay one man. But I dare an average South African man to talk about 10% increment. I dare you guys to talk about 10% increment. They're going to tell you about the rent. They're going to tell you about the investors. They're going to tell you about all of these. Like, they want to give you all of the excuses in the world. You saw what happened in Marikana, man. People were killed in Marikana in cold blood. People were killed in Marikana in cold blood because they wanted their salaries to be increased. Not by 70%. But they were killed. And you have these guys in parliament. It's okay, man. Yeah, 2.6 million rands, it's okay. These guys are in the Democratic Alliance, man. If the Democratic Alliance really cared about the people of this country, man, they would be like, okay, guys, we are reviewing everything in parliament, man. From salaries to all your packs, man. We are taking you to court. We are going to fight each and every one of you. We are taking all of you guys to court. There's no way that you guys can earn millions and millions of rands while average South Africans are suffering. If the Democratic Alliance really cared about the average South Africans, that is exactly what they would be doing. They would be saying, guys, we want to trim everyone's salary must be trimmed. Everyone. The cabinet must be trimmed. It can't be that average South Africans, man, they cannot buy food. Average South Africans cannot buy food. And you have these guys earning millions and millions of rands for doing that. They're doing nothing.
Yeah. And so, yes, one may say that this is a CEO position and that, this is the administrative head of the institution and they are doing things like making sure the institution is running properly, managing the staff of of parliament.
Man, I don't care about all of these administrative things that he's doing. Yeah, making sure that the institution is run properly, making sure that the staff is run properly. But average South Africans are not getting anything for paying you guys that kind of money. Average South Africans are not getting the results of paying you that kind of money. Yes, the guy maybe is the CEO of parliament, but what is it that he's doing to improve the lives of average South Africans? What is it that you are doing to improve the lives of average South Africans?
Excuse me, that are
yes, cough.
Are employed there, making sure that Parliament has meets all its outcomes. But the reality is that let's not forget that when this position was advertised, it was at 2.6 million rand. What has now changed within less than a year of the appointment being made? Unless the Secretary to Parliament was promised that in fact he would be matched.
You know, guys, man, I'm sick and tired of this lady, man. I'm sick and tired of listening to this lady. Because this lady refused to answer one question that I thought it was really important, man. What makes it okay for you guys there in parliament to earn millions and millions of salaries while average South Africans cannot even afford to buy food? She refused to answer that. She still wants to talk about the Secretary of Parliament. Man, everybody knows that getting 70% of increment to match up with the cost of living in the country while average South Africans are choked with the high cost of living, man, it's insane. It's insane. So, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not going to listen to the whole interview. I'm not going to listen to the whole interview until it is done, because I'm sick and tired of this lady, because she refused to answer a very important question. What makes it okay for you guys to earn millions of rands while South Africans are struggling, man? South Africans are struggling, and these guys are getting millions and millions and millions and millions of rands, and they are talking about the Secretary of Parliament being the CEO of Parliament, making sure that the Parliament runs smoothly, making sure that the staff of Parliament, but the South Africans, average South Africans, are not getting any results from paying you guys all of those millions, man. They are not. I'm sick and tired of you guys, all of you guys in politicians. I'm sick and tired of all of these politicians. I'm sick and tired. Honestly, guys. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.